Good morning. Let me stand. I think that's more appropriate. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Bangladesh, from the Netherlands, elsewhere, maybe in Europe, good morning. Welcome to this panel session where we will talk about the development opportunities in the agri-food sector in Bangladesh and how we might intensify also the cooperation between the Netherlands and Bangladesh in the near future. So I'm very pleased that we have here a very experienced group of people from Bangladesh and the Netherlands who would like to share their views on the opportunities in the agri-food sector. So maybe starting from right, the pleasure that we have here, Mr. Jan Hak, who is I would say, a senior veteran in the Dutch international trade. Lots of experience also in the agri-food sector in Asia. So a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Hello, yeah?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jan Hak, happily married, 2 children and 6 grandchildren. That's why I'm here, for their future. And the future of the best of the Netherlands to combine with the best of Bangladesh, the right choice for the title of this event.
Excellent. Then, thank you, Mr. Hak. Then, secondly, I would like to introduce you, Mr. Frederik Vossenaar, who is the special envoy on behalf of the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture. Frederik, you've recently been in Bangladesh. Maybe you would like to share a few words on your personal background?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I work for the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality, and for the Dutch in the audience, you might have the impression that the Ministry of Agriculture had disappeared in a big cloud of nitrogen or other emissions, but still, I think the promotion of foreign trade is very much on our radar. And we used to be, when we talked about promoting exports, it was bringing like boxes of biscuits to foreign markets, or the export of live cattle, I don't know. But nowadays, it is much more than about knowledge, about technology. The Netherlands is quite small. We don't have the areas to produce seed potatoes for the whole world in our country, but we can assist other countries to produce potatoes. We can assist other countries to produce tomatoes. So our horticultural sector, I think, is one of the most competitive in the world. And there is a huge interest in our technology and knowledge in countries like Bangladesh, which is growing GDP with a growing middle class, with so many people living there, and with such a high need for processed and safe food. The Dutch are a natural partner for the development of the agribusiness in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Mr. Vossenaar. And then to my right, we have the honor to have Mr. Khaled, who is the director of Nourish Poultry, one of the leading companies in livestock in Bangladesh. Mr. Khaled, maybe a few words as a personal introduction, please.
Good morning. I'm Shamsul, Arefin, Khaled. I'm the director of Nourish Poultry Group. Is also the part of the Khaled group of industries. So actually Nourish Poultry is actually focusing on the poultry and the livestock sector, but we are trying to diversify into the agriculture sector, and I think the Netherlands is the right partner in order to improve our sustainability and the reliability of the agri-industry. And to us, agri-industry is very, very important, as majority of our people, they live in the rural areas, and the rural emancipation is very, very important to us. And to do it in the right direction, I think the technical know-how and the technology and the knowledge sharing is very, very important. So we are here to get the right direction and the know-how and the partnership and everything from Netherlands, as Netherlands and Bangladesh is very similar to some extent in both a delta-like country and highly densely populated country. So I think this is the right choice, and thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you.
Excellent. Great to have you here. So on my left, we have Willem Schoustra, who is the director of SeedNL. Willem, maybe a few words on your personal background.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias. Where to start? I was born in Friesland, in the north of the Netherlands, and I was grown up between the cows, so I studied animal science in Wageningen University. But now director of SeedNL, so into seeds. So for some people that's a big leap, but you will see that it is also really close connected. In between, I've been working for the Ministry of Agriculture for many years. And the last 4 years also as agriculture counselor in Vietnam, which we will see have sometimes similar challenges as Bangladesh when it comes to water-related challenges and deltas. SeedNL, public-private initiative, really to strengthen the access of high-quality seeds for farmers in the global south. And we do that through knowledge sharing and also to initiating and supporting new initiatives.
Excellent, thank you, Willem. And finally, we have Ms. Yasmeen of Ispahani Group. Yeah, please, you might stand if you wish. Perhaps a short, brief personal intro and also about your company, please.
Thank you. I have a small presentation.
Yeah, correct.
Now, or?
If it's possible, yeah, you can accompany that in your presentation. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am Fawzia Yasmeen from Ispahani Agro Limited. Ispahani Agro is a sister concern of Ispahani Group of company. Ispahani Group has a 200 years heritage of business in Bangladesh and pioneer in many fields like tea, textile, food, jute, and many others. And Ispahani Agro Limited is working with inputs for farmer like seed, biopesticide, and other inputs, and output for the consumer. So Ispahani Agro is dealing with the input and output for both market. And the objective of Ispahani Agro Limited is to develop a sustainable and environmental friendly agriculture system. Can I have the clicker? Okay, automatic. Thank you. Bangladesh is an agriculture-based country. Agriculture sector has a vital role to the development of Bangladesh. The transition took place since 1980. The contribution came down to 11.2 in GDP, and still 37% workforce engaged in agriculture sector. Agro-food processing industry contributes 1.7% to GDP, and with an export share of 3.5%. And the industry size is 50.8 billion, and the agriculture export is growing at a CAGR 18%. Domestic market for agro-processed food stood 2.6 billion and experiencing a growth of 8%. The contribution of agriculture, we know that has a tremendous influence in the development. Bangladesh is already reached to a top of production list for many crops, like in rice, it is third, freshwater fish also in third position, dried chili second position, and potato and ginger in the seventh position. So now we have to think about the forward linkage that we could achieve the production side. And agriculture growth contributed to the poverty reduction and other macroeconomic conditions. Poverty reduced from 48.9% in 2002 to 18.7% in 2022. We have so much opportunities and yet some challenges to address for the future development. Due to climate change, 1/3 GDP can lose. Then high logistic cost comprises 4.5 to 48% of total sale, depending on the type of the product. And post-harvest activities loss is 40%. So we need to concentrate in this area, and access to finance is a big challenge for the marginal farmer, even for the business owner also. And regional and global trade barrier, policy regulation, limitation to technology adoption, and decrease of arable land with the increase of population. These are the challenges we need to address. Next. Why Bangladesh? Bangladesh has a tremendous scope in agriculture and food sector. global population to reach 9.7 billion in 2050, and 68% of population will live in the urban area. Demand for food will increase by 60% by 2050, and Bangladesh will become the 9th largest consumer market by 2030. And Bangladesh is strategic gateway to the countries to Asia Pacific, and location near to China and India, actually access to 2.9 billion consumers who are spending more than 8.5 trillion currency annually. Next. The potential area, we have already achieved the production side and horticulture and our food grain. Now we need to concentrate in the processing and the advanced forward value chain linkage so that we can create the safe consumer market as well as for the export market. We need to concentrate food processing, dairy and poultry, edible oil, tissue culture, development, multi-purpose cold storage facilities, fish processing. And climate challenge can create the investment opportunity also. There is opportunity in climate adaptive approach, climate resilient agro inputs, solar powered irrigation, solar powered cold storage, digital climate smart agriculture advisory system, what you were talking about today, and solar power plant, which is necessary for Bangladesh. Next. We are here for the opportunity for achieving sustainable growth. We know Netherlands are so advanced. How can we adopt the technology and accelerate our growth with the help of Netherlands technology? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Yasmeen. And actually, you're already setting the scene for the discussion today. We'd like to learn a bit more on your views on what can we do together in order to accelerate the agri-food sector in Bangladesh. Maybe agenda for today. We have about 20-25 minutes left. I would like to share the floor to each of you. I have a couple of questions in mind which I would like to address to you. And then I also like to have a few moments left also to give the audience the opportunity to ask questions to the panelists. Before we move ahead, maybe a short intro myself. Matthias Brina, working for Arefin. We are a Dutch headquartered business development advisory firm. We support companies with doing business in emerging markets, including Bangladesh, where we are represented by a local firm named Light Council Partners. We do have quite some exposure also in the agri-food sector, poultry, aquaculture, horticulture, having the pleasure amongst others to work together with leading firms such as Nourish. For today, maybe starting with Mr. Haq, you have decades of experience in the agri-food sector, in developments in other countries. Could you share your views on what kind of parallels do you see Bangladesh versus other markets, perhaps in Southeast Asia?
Okay, I'm now 76 years old. I was born in the fields under machinery. And if you go to the supermarket, you see my name. I'm the oldest of the oldest in the family. We sold that firm and we invested in various others, let's say, consumer-oriented investments. Because if there is no consumer, it's a waste of time to produce something. That's essential, number one. My experience started with Wageningen, Harvard, and the Hebrew University. And I'm convinced today that the Netherlands, we are the number one, not only in products export, because that's just the delta throughput. Yes, products are important for the Netherlands, but more important is that 20 billion of systems and technology which we have available for the world. In that, we are the number one in the world. And we can help the world in feeding another 22 billion people, up till 10 billion, whatever. The world is big enough, stop making war, and we are there. If you look at Bangladesh, you are increasing, let's say, till 300, 400 billion people. in the next 20 to 30 years. I advised, for, amongst others, Chinese government, other governments, in similar processes of urbanization, going from 65% urban up till today. I think China is in the 40s, 45. And you will, because of land limitations, because of your population not getting poorer, but ending slavery in agriculture, you are going to urbanize. And the money is in the cities, not in the rural areas. The rural areas are important to guarantee the food security in quality and in quantity. Essential. And in that we have experience. We are combining experience from the Maas-Rhine Delta. That's another 60 million people. For example, with 3 deltas, we have experience in China. There are 3. And you are one of the most important deltas on the other side, on the Indian Ocean, which is essential to have a similar development as the Netherlands to feed the environment of your area. You explained it very well in your presentation. Now, you can continue to make individual connections between partners from the Netherlands, SMEs or whatever. This will not be speedy enough in the next 20 years to solve or to all the challenges you have. For that, I think what I already do with other countries, you need a master plan with an agreement on a platform helping your institutions to have the B2B connections. But moreover, you need a kind of master plan to help yourself. And a master plan, in my opinion, is based, that's my experience, on 3 essential elements. First, you need to understand each other. Co-creation, you can teach your young kids on all levels, basic level, medium, higher level, and especially also universities. So I was almost 30 years the head of the FME Agro-Food technology cluster. That's I think it's now about 10 billion in turnover. And the success of that is starting with the young people, the entrepreneurial spirit of the entrepreneurs in our industry. They are innovative, they are creative. That curricula for your schools, I think you should study, adapt it, and for example, NUFIC could be helpful in transferring that technology. So co-creation is the key, understanding each other. Then the second part is co-development. That doesn't mean that we are teaching you, like in the ancient days, what to do. No. It's having respect for each other's, value each other's capabilities, stimulating each other. And this is both physical and by ICT. So in Wageningen, with the Baan family, well known for ICT, there is a kind of software for regional or even provincial and governmental analysis of directions of investments who are profitable. You choose what are your priorities. We can help you in bringing in the data, and as soon as possible you have to use the data yourself. That is called co-development. In the end, this will result in the need in your countryside to feed the cities of, let's say, to feed the cities, and we come back to the renovations or innovations in retailing and consumer analysis, but you need regional innovation centers in a national network. Because to invest in a white elephant, I saw many times, but one standalone investment is bound to fail. You need to do it like I'm used to do in the southern part of Israel, in industrial areas who are really tied together and who are with the nucleus, like in the Horti Center in the Netherlands, the nucleus is the education and the research. And then you have the stimulation of investments, and you will find investors from the Netherlands who want to help you. So that is the co-development part. Purely at the moment ICT, because we cannot reach the 20 or 30% of viewer for 300 million. You cannot reach it physically. You have to do it by ICT. And that means the third part is communication. Communication by ICT on your app, giving the farmer the right information on his crop disease alert, where to plant, how to plant, when to do what, is all possible because of Copernicus. We have in eLeaf, in Vito, we have all the data from 5 years back. What did you grow? Why it maybe failed? But that's the past. But we are looking for the future. So what should you grow? And that is market-oriented. Don't grow what is able to be grown by that farmer on that field, market-oriented. And for that, you need a retail connection. In the Netherlands, we have Beuk, for example. Better food from the short chain. I never liked retailers. I want you to have direct contact with the consumer. Sometimes you need the retailers. But there is more than retailing. There are many other outlets. So you need a platform, also ICT platform, to connect suppliers with consumers and consuming entities, your institutions, your organizations, to stimulate that direct flow of products at the cheapest, most effective way to benefit the whole chain, primarily the development of the farmer.
Thank you, Jan. So, if I may recap, it's no, that's fine. But what I recap is it's a good planning, what you call master plan. It's about education and it's about connectivity, and then a few others are the market driven, but really important. Thank you. Maybe Mr. Khaled, you are the leader, I would say, in poultry, but also active in other parts of the industry. If you look to the current developments in the market in Bangladesh, where would you see opportunities to venture? And perhaps you would also like to invite Dutch companies to have a look at.
Thank you. Just if you start with the poultry or the livestock industry, there's some areas we need to focus on. First of all, in Bangladesh for the last few years, we're facing severe problem in the demand-supply mismatch. The market is not at equilibrium. Sometimes the oversupply, sometimes the low supply, the price is high, sometimes low. It's because of the not much of sharing of the market information and market research. I think it is very, very important in the agriculture sector because it's a highly perishable product, and if you fail to sell on time, then everybody will suffer. And sometimes the consumers will also suffer because of the short supply. It is very, very important. Number two is the forward linkages. The storage, the logistics, and the processing for the further processing. You need to have the cold chain management and the infrastructure for that. The problem with Bangladesh is that everybody is focusing on the productivity. They're not at all focusing on not at all. There's a little bit problem in considering the reliability or the sustainability part. And this is another issue. Maybe after 2026, the consumers will be changed because the millennials and the Generation Z, they would be the major decision makers, and they will definitely consider the sustainability and the reliability. So to do that, first of all, we need to do the market research and demand supply, equilibrium. Government can intervene in those areas to how much to produce and what quality we need to attain. So technology is very, very important, but before that, we need to understand that we need to have the proper infrastructure for that, the cold chain and the logistics. And government support is very, very important. In Bangladesh, 95% is the wet market for the poultry and also the cattle. It's not at all hygienic. Whatever we have done in the production level, the reality is the wet market is the hub of the diseases. All the microbes are there. So whatever effort you are doing or giving in the production level, it will be ruined when it comes, across the distribution system. So better to have the processing industry. They should give priorities to the processing industry, and the policy support is very, very important. So we have asked to the government to please, in the metropolitan area, give us some space for the processing. They should identify some areas where the wet market shouldn't be allowed. First to start with some areas with the process, and then automatically it would be phased out, because everybody then understands the significance of the safety and the reliability of the chicken. So to us, the missing link is, it's not about the productivity, it's about the missing link is the storage, the logistic, and the government support, infrastructure, the awareness programs. So these are very, very important. It's not about productivity or the technology. Yes, technology is around, and I think the very good understanding between Bangladesh and Netherlands, and we are gradually absorbing technological side, but I think we need some support from those areas, the infrastructure and the logistics, and on the processing, the further processing area. And of course, the machine learning and AI is one of the major issues nowadays. And we'd like to use those tools to identify the real market scenario, and also some prediction model is needed in the future to identify not only the market area, but your quality assurance areas. So I think AI and machine learning tools need to be implemented to some extent in order to attain the sustainability and the reliability of our products.
So what you tell us is the need for further investments in particularly downstream, cold chain, processing. You as a company, you're particularly strong in the upstream part. Do you consider yourself to venture ultimately, for example, in cold chain logistics? Or?
Yeah, of course. Actually, we're here to focus or concentrate on those areas and to have some sharing, knowledge sharing, and also technology sharing in those areas, the forward integration and the mid-level areas. I think if we invite you to come to Bangladesh and we work together to convince our government that they need to change some rules. Otherwise, it will be very difficult, because the wastages in the food in Bangladesh is really, really alarming. Huge, even in our poultry industry also. Without having a processing, it couldn't be affordable for our producers to run our show, because if only 70% of our chicken is consumed and 30% get wasted, then how come you can compete with the neighboring countries? So I think processing is the solution, and to do that, we need phasing out of the wet market and to have a right direction. And I think the Dutch counterparts can help us to convince our government along with us. And within 5 years, everybody will be different. In Bangladesh, compared to Pakistan and India, I just want to share some thoughts. In Pakistan, usually in the average farm size for the poultry is between 20,000 and 30,000. In India, it's around 4,000 to 5,000. In Bangladesh, it's only 1,000. So it's a very, very small farms. So small farmers cannot actually capable of doing sustainable production. So we need to improve the quality of the farms and also the farmers, and help them to enhance their production size. I don't want to irrigate the marginal farmers. I want to help them to be a bigger farmers. So I think that should be the approach in Bangladesh.
Excellent. So also clear role for the GGG part. So maybe then making a step to you, Frederik. You were there in June in Bangladesh. Maybe you can share some words what you've seen, but also how, from a Dutch government perspective, we could support Bangladesh in enhancing particularly the downstream industries.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. Also, thank you to the previous speakers for already pointing out that the government has a huge role to play. I must say, already for a long time, Bangladesh has become on the radar, and All the export promotion that we do is a public-private partnership kind of initiatives that we support. I must also say that the Dutch Enterprise Agency, of whom a representative is here, maybe Nadia, you can stand up and show yourself, because I think you've done the Dutch Enterprise Agency has a great job in disclosing all kinds of information about what's happening in Bangladesh, and sometimes it's in a very detailed level, so entrepreneurs can really take advantage of the information that has been gathered. Dutch Greenhouse Delta is on the brink of publishing a very detailed report about really the details of what's happening in horticulture, so Dutch entrepreneurs can take advantage. But still, in the legislative framework, for example, or to support government services in Bangladesh, indeed there's a role to play for the Dutch government as well. We are, later this year, we'll send some phytosanitary experts to Bangladesh, and maybe Willem can point that out in detail, because you're also part of that mission, to make sure that the phytosanitary service is up to, knows what it's doing, that we have the right legislation in place to create the enabling environment for companies to do business and to set up a framework for companies to grow. That's also happening in the veterinary field, but I think the first priority is in phytosanitary, and there, well, as I said, the government is very willing to step up their efforts. Additionally, I think, you know, we need to maybe make an extra effort to promote the opportunities in Bangladesh. We're very much in need of success stories of companies that have managed to do business there and to inspire others. I think Larive also has, you know, you have organized several missions of the clusters that you're leading, but we have to make a concerted effort to, in the Dutch agribusiness, to point out the opportunities in Bangladesh. And that goes by trade missions, but certainly also on a more easy way to bring the good news stories to the people.
Interesting one, Frederik. And indeed, well, we were just discussing, Mr. Khaled, prior to this session, that we have constructed a demonstration layer farm together, which we're currently doing some trials. We do hope to have a formal opening later this year, also with the Dutch embassy, and then I guess it's important that we also showcase that there are truly remarkable success stories between Dutch and Bangladeshi parties in Bangladesh, and share the word. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Yasmeen, and I have a particular question. What I learned from your presentation is that you are active in various segments of the agri-food value chains, also working a lot together with farmers. Mr. Khaled mentioned already the structure in various value chains in Bangladesh, that there are many smallholders. What's your experience in working with smallholders, particularly in terms of contract farming, and your practical experiences?
Thank you for this question. Actually, when we started seed production without contract farming, it is not possible, because it needs supervision, close supervision. So we take a group of farmer with the lead farmer, so that we train them, we build them capacity, we give them input support, so that we can get back the seed. But very recently, I can give you an example. Very recently, we have conducted a pilot project on climate-affected area with the seed and biopesticide, climate-resilient inputs. So there, actually, the business concept is like that. We provide seed and climate-resilient inputs to the farmer on credit, because in the climate-affected area, if they are marginal farmer, they don't have any capacity, they are leaving their cultivation practice because they cannot produce their crop. So to introduce them that with climate-resilient seed, they can produce their crop. So we did a pilot project. We gave them inputs. Then throughout the production period, we gave them counseling, work for their capacity building. Then we bought back their produces so that they can have an ensured market. So they got the access to finance, they got support for their capacity building, and they got the access to finance. And as I mentioned that we are working in the input and output market, then after buying their produces, then after processing, we supplied it to to the consumer through our distribution network. It was a successful piloting, because when we introduced and showed through the demonstration that this seed is actually how it is working, and biopesticide, by using biopesticide, is it environmentally friendly? It helps the climate change adoption, for the adoption of climate change effect. When they see that it is working, they come back. And as we are sharing their risk, so they're ready to take this risk. And when finally they saw that it is profitable for them, they came back for the cultivation practice. So it will work. Our piloting is very successful, so we are going to scale up this business model. So it is successful that with the contract farming, we are able to take the technology, we can give them technology, we can disseminate the technology to capacity building. What is the challenge for the farmers? It is possible to provide through the contract farming.
Excellent. And to which other crops or value chains are you going to extend this cooperation?
Yes.
You have cotton. Do you also consider to extend to other crops?
Yes. We are already working with rice and horticulture in those southern belt where salinity affected area, and northern belt where drought prone area. So where the product needs less water and salinity tolerant variety. That's why actually we are looking for more climate resilient input so that we can introduce and we can accelerate the project idea.
Excellent, thank you. And that's the next step also to you, Willem. So horticulture and climate conditions. Your experience from Vietnam, which of those could we perhaps leverage to Bangladesh?
Yeah, thank you for asking these questions, and let me elaborate just upon what all the previous speakers have already been bringing forward. But what my experience in Vietnam compared to, for example, Bangladesh, they are both delta countries. I think Mr. Haq was already referring to it. So you have to deal with the effects of climate change and with the effects of water and water management. And I think that is very crucial. But in the end, you can deal with the water and you can deal with the climate change, but you also want to increase your productivity of the land. So you have to adopt your agricultural system to the water management and to the climate change. I think that is crucial to do, and that also means that you really have to work together and not only work with an agricultural view or with a water view or with a climate change view, but really bringing those fields together. And that's, I think, also what Mr. Haq was referring to by co-creating and co-developing. And that's actually also what we do as SeedNL, as the public-private partnerships within the Netherlands Food Partnership, because the SeedNL is embedded in the Netherlands Food Partnership. And this Netherlands Food Partnership is really trying to facilitate this co-creation and co-development with knowledge of good endeavors, but sometimes also with a little bit less good endeavors. And we have to build up that experiences. And the other side, to bring the right partners together. What has made Dutch agriculture strong is, I think, by really working together between government, Mr. Vossenaar was referring to that, research, and the private sector. And let's also not forget civil society. By really working together. And I think when we can do that here in Holland, partnering up with the same families in Bangladesh, we can really co-create and really co-develop, especially in fields like agro-water. Let me also mention saline agriculture, sustainable agriculture, all really important. And of course, I have to repeat it, you said it first, seed. And I think seeds are crucial when you really want to really invest in more high-value crops and also provide an income to all the farmers in Bangladesh. And that's something we can also do together between the Netherlands and Bangladesh. You have wonderful skills, wonderful people. We are coincidentally very good in vegetable seeds and potato seeds. And I'm sure there is a lot of expertise in Bangladesh as well. Let's partner up. And Mr. Vossenaar was referring to a mission later this year. We are going to Bangladesh with a scoping mission to see if we can partner up on seed sector development. So let me close up there.
Excellent, Willem. Thank you. And I notice we run a bit out of time, so I would like to give the floor to maybe one or two questions from the audience. So is anyone having any questions for any of our panelists? Not altogether. Maybe, Nadia, you on behalf of the Netherlands Enterprise AC, yeah, I'm giving you the floor. Maybe you don't have to ask any question, but maybe you have any interesting developments you would like to share. So I understood there is a report upcoming on the horticulture sector. Anything else you would like to share on engagements that the Netherlands Enterprise AC currently has or which are upcoming towards Bangladesh? Nadia. And yeah, there we go.
So thank you for giving me the floor. I didn't expect that. So yeah, we are currently doing a lot of projects actually on horticulture because Bangladesh is now a combi country for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And that means that we combine trade with development. So we have this combi track on sustainable horticulture, and we're trying to do a lot of different projects within the combi track. One of them is the seed scoping mission, and also what Frederik already mentioned is the phytosanitary mission that we will do in December. And next to that, we hope to set up some impact clusters with different companies from both the Netherlands and Bangladesh in sustainable horticulture. So we're really looking forward to do more projects on this topic. And yeah, let's work together on this, and looking forward to start a lot of new projects with all of the people involved in this room. So thank you for everyone.
Thank you, Nadia. Anyone else from the audience? Any questions? And if not, and then I would like to conclude and thank you all for attending this session. Also, thank you, my dear panelists, for sharing your experiences, your views on the Bangladeshi market and how we could further intensify the cooperation between the Netherlands and Bangladesh. Personally, I would like to also address that Bangladesh, I think it's a fantastic market, irrespective of the economics, which are incredible. One of the fastest growing markets in Asia in the recent years. A tremendous future ahead in various industries, agriculture, poultry, horticulture, cold chain, cross linkages in between. So, I mean, we're excited. So, we also do hope that we can jointly foster the further growth and enjoy the cooperation between both nations. I would like to thank, although he's not present at current, the Ambassador Rias for lining up this panel, and we do hope to see you all in Bangladesh or the Netherlands. And thank you, and see you soon.